All right, friends, I don't know if this is streaming or not because my computer is frozen. But I think now we are going live on YouTube. So it's been a while since I've been live. I want to thank everyone for your very kind words of support in my time of grief and loss. Today is Friday, and I actually have another video for you covering the what's going on with Trump in his trial. I actually just recorded that for you, but it was lagging in getting uploaded. So I decided to just come on live right now. At the end of that video, you're going to hear me say, I've got another video for you, but it's this video right now, which is live. And I was trying to think of a good title for it because as we close out the week, I was promising you that I wanted to share with you some of your words of support and how much I appreciate you being on board in our Healthy American audience. And it always drove me crazy over the last few years where you would see the billboards and things on social media that said, we're all in it together. And I hated that phrase because no, we're not all in it together, whatever it is. The hogwash that they sloshed all over us the last 4 years, there were individual agonies and choices and losses and decisions. There were individuals who were told to stay home from work and couldn't earn money. It happened to individuals, and I don't care for this group think or we're all in it together. So I wholeheartedly reject that narrative that they tried to, impose upon us and inflict upon us that we're all in this together. Yeah, I don't think so. But I will say that when it comes to loss and sorrow and getting support in our Healthy American community, you are not alone. And there's a difference. You are not alone means that I am there sharing in your sorrow, just like you have been sharing in my sorrow. I've gotten so many amazing messages of support, and I did share some of them on the channel over the last few days. I did run several of my top hits over the last couple of weeks in the midst of my darkest days of grief and sorrow. And I know that will continue to hit me like a wave, the ebb and flow. So we are at the end of the month, and I do want to thank you for your patience. And I do want to thank my sponsor. I have one more message I want to get out this month, and I would like you to tell me in a comment what losses you've been experiencing, how you have gotten support. And then I want to share with you a couple of resources that have helped me. So before I do that, I am going to thank the sponsor of today's show. And we are going on over to getallofone.com/Peggy. You can see, let me share my screen. I'm not even sharing my screen. So I'll share my screen and you can see that this is a video. It's a free video made by Dr. Gundry, who is a holistic nutritionist and health advocate. He is a famous cardiothoracic surgeon, and he has made this video to talk about why you should get as much high quality olive oil as possible into your daily routine. So you can take a shot of it daily, or you can keep a bottle of it in your bathroom, in your medicine cabinet to use it externally as well. So basically that's it. Inside your pantry is one of the healthiest foods on the planet. And it's not some weird, trendy superfood. As you can see, it is olive oil. You've probably used it for cooking, and there are countless ways to use olive oil to help yourself look and feel younger. So olive oil is a natural way to help you achieve a more youthful appearance. Now, you know, I have my other channel, which is Living Swell with Peggy Hall, and I talk a lot about elevating your physical, mental, emotional health so that you can have the energy and the wherewithal to handle all of these stormy seas. And we do talk a lot about natural approaches to beauty. So this is right up my alley. In this video, you're going to learn from Dr. Gundry the right kind of olive oil to get, because any olive oil can give you some results, but if you're looking to get the best results, it matters which olive oil you pick. The olive oil industry is huge. You can tell by the number of olive oil brands that are out there in the grocery stores, and they're not all made with the consumer in mind. And many brands do cut corners. So when Dr. Gundry realized that, he was appalled, but he wants to encourage everyone to even just take a few tablespoons of olive oil to see some of these incredible health benefits. So in order to figure out which kind of olive oil to get and which to avoid, that's where you want to go to this video. I'll have it linked for you below. Get olive one, the number one.com/Peggy. Everyone's loving this video. And it's important, if you are interested in learning about this, for you to see it as well, so you can start benefiting immediately. People who have taken Dr. Gundry's advice have shared their results with him, saying that the olive oil that they bought based on his recommendations and his simple rules, it literally, they said, changed their lives. So check it out, getolive1.com/Peggy. All right, friends. The end of the week, a little bit more of a heavy topic as we talk about our emotional and I guess mental, spiritual, physical abilities to persevere in the difficult times. Over the last 4 years, since I've been on this channel, endeavoring to inspire and educate, empower, encourage, I guess a little entertainment here or there in terms of, sometimes I get snarky and I go on my rants with my righteous anger. And I appreciate all of you being on board all of this times with all of the ups and downs. And so many of you sent me such encouraging messages. And I thought that I wanted to read some to you, but I think it's probably best if I leave a link for you at the end of this video where you can go back and see my video called Feeling Like an Empty Shell. And then Help for the Hurting is another one. And then yesterday I did a video talking about heavenly hugs. So I literally have gotten thousands of well wishes. And the bigger picture that I want to share with you is how comforting it is to hear from someone sending their condolences. Many times people don't know what to say. Maybe they haven't been through that kind of loss, or maybe they've been through a loss and it's so painful that it's difficult for them to even find the words to say, I'm sorry for your loss. So when you read the comments of the viewers on those videos, you're going to see so many beautifully expressed, eloquent expressions of heartfelt love and understanding and prayers, which bring me great comfort. We all grieve differently, and it's very natural and normal, common, and understandable to just want to put your head under the covers and, not participate in life anymore. Through the many years with my losses, and there have been tragedies, there have been family members and extended family members that, in my view, have gone too early. And some under very tragic circumstances, accidents and suicide and murder and all of these things that you can imagine. Many of you have shared with me your devastating losses at the hands of these corrupt individuals in the mainstream medical merry-go-round. And it's even more heartbreaking for you because you knew what the dangers were and you were trying to warn them of that. I cannot imagine the frustration, the anger, the devastation, the anguish that you must be feeling going through all of that. For me personally, having support and being a support is what gets me through these very, very difficult, heart-shattering times, which is why I've come back onto YouTube here over the last few days, because having a purpose in my life and connecting with all of you, my lovely, healthy Americans, has literally been a lifeboat for my soul. I do have a deep faith. I do pray, but there are times when I feel distant from God. And I reminded myself that God is not a feeling, and I don't need to feel anything to know that he's there and to know that I can turn to him for comfort and support. So I just had that epiphany again recently that my emotions, whether I'm feeling God's presence, has nothing to do with his presence and his strength and courage that I rely on. In fact, I feel God's love through you. I feel his strength through your messages and your encouragement. And I also need to let everyone know who may have sent me a card or letter in the mail that unfortunately, and this is so strange, that, have a P.O. box. And that's where all of those go. And that way, if I'm out of town or something, everything is kept safe and sound. And for some reason, there's been a little mix up at the post office. And I believe everything is safe and sound. But just wanted to give you an alert. If anything is returned to you and you're like, what is going on, Peggy? I sent this to the snail mail address you gave me. The address is correct, but we had a little hiccup with the post office. Yeah, no surprise, another government agency. By and large, they're very good. So that address is Peggy Hall. It's 205 Avenida del Mar. And that's number 681, San Clemente, California, 92674. It's also in the description box below. So I want to thank all of you that have sent me the cards and letters, but I don't want this to be about me. I want to help you if you are suffering and struggling. So I do want to share, again, please watch the video about heavenly hugs from yesterday. I will link that for you at the end of this broadcast. And there have been so many heartwarming stories of you telling me when there was a sign or symbol or something happened that made you feel close to your loved one. You felt like God was just sending you a hug saying all is well and all will be well. So one that wasn't on YouTube, but came in to me on support at thehealthyamerican.org, a Healthy American who is a part of our grief support group. If you're interested about that, I'll have a link for you below. And very tragically, his wife passed away and he was bereft. I can't even imagine the depth of anguish, to feel losing a spouse like that. And he was just an empty shell, but he needed to eat something. So he, made his way to a little restaurant cafe and placed his order. And when his order came, there on the rim of the plate was spelled out with, something like, it looked like, I don't know, it was ketchup or some kind of sauce. And it said, Jen with a heart. Now, his wife's name was Jennifer, and he was praying for some kind of indication that all was well. And he felt that was a direct heavenly hug from the heavens above. And it's just like, how do you define that? How do you describe those things that happen? I shared with you some heavenly hugs yesterday, and many of you shared some as well that had to do with animals. And there was a really beautiful one that came into my email. Let me see if I can grab that for you. And I love reading your stories as well, friends. I want to share with you also let me see if I can grab this because it was so well expressed, especially related to the loss of animals. So let me see if I've got that here. Many of you know that, or any of you that have had or do have animals, you know that they are our family members. And it is so very painful because they are dependent on us, unlike, certain grown-ups that may be our family as well, but they're not reliant on us. So it's very painful type of loss. So I am going to share this with you. And this is from Healthy American Amy. She said, I thought I would share with you 2 sweet stories that I've experienced this year, and I'm very sorry for your losses. All of our animals are getting old, and it's hard watching them go, she writes. In February, a vet assisted us in helping our horse, Jack, pass on. He had been sick for months. All right, I want to interrupt myself for one moment. I really love how Amy described that they helped her horse pass on. I know there's an old-fashioned expression, and maybe it comes from the farm where you say you put the animal down, like we had to put our dog down, we had to put and I think that's an old-fashioned expression, and you may be using it without even realizing that is, to me, I would rather say, I I laid my beloved pet to rest. As Amy said, we helped our horse Jack pass on. We provided for a peaceful passing, or the transition into the eternal life. And that also may help you in your grief, because words are important and language is important. And if that doesn't resonate with you, then that's fine. Say however you want. But I think sometimes we say things and we don't realize there's another way of saying it. So he had been sick for months. She wrote, "We picked a warm, sunny day to help him go home to heaven." I love that expression as well. For me, it brings a greater sense of peace and understanding, and it's not so clinical and cut and dry, so to speak. She wrote, "After we lay him down and he was taking his last breaths, some birds in a nearby bush began to flutter and chirp happily with each other. Suddenly, they all flew away to the west together. At that moment, my other horse, my sensitive horse, April, saw what was happening, and she came running to the rails of her corral and called out loudly to him. All of the horses in the neighborhood surrounding our horse answered her. I believe they ushered Jack's spirit into God's waiting arms." I think that is so beautiful, Amy. She says, "I've been wondering ever since if the animals see things that we don't see, and they see them spiritually. It gave me much comfort. It was beautiful, and I'm happy my spiritual eyes were wide open and receptive to God's message to us." And then she goes on to say, 2 weeks ago, we were making plans with a vet to help my little dog Kisses cross her bridge to heaven. Again, Amy, I just want to thank you for all of these alternative ways of expressing the very sad time of euthanizing your precious family members, animal family members. Thank you for these beautiful expressions. So she said she was planning to help her little dog Kisses cross her bridge to heaven. But Kisses went off on her own and passed away in the yard one day while, Amy says, while I was at work. She said, I found her and I laid her body under the tree where we have buried our other pets. One by one, the 2 cats and the 2 other dogs that we have came to visit her. My big tomcat even came down next to her to sit next to her little body protectively. He was always looking out for her and helping her because at that point she was blind and deaf. When my horse April saw me crying, she showed alarm and ran to the far end of her stall. I can only assume that she also was mourning. And she said, we also showed her little body to our parrot as well, since he's probably the smartest of all of them. Then we took her into the horse corral. They snuffled, nudged, and breathed her in for a full minute. I had never seen, Amy writes, until I witnessed these actions, that my animals felt love and sadness at each other's passing. It has softened my heart, and I will never be the same. She writes, I believe that we are experiencing a great awakening. I'm experiencing layers upon layers of these small awakenings in my heart. Maybe the animals are as well. And I still know what I've always known, that we will all be together again in heaven. Amy, I'm so grateful for your message. And I personally find solace and support when I hear what other people have been through. For those of you that are looking for this type of support, I want to share my screen, and there is a wonderful forum online specifically for pets, and this is forums.rainbowbridge.com. And for those who are not familiar with the expression rainbow bridge, there's a poem, or a more like a short story, about animals crossing the rainbow bridge and being so happy and excited to play with all of the other animals. But every once in a while, there will be a moment when the animal stops and runs to the rainbow bridge, where they then are escorting their beloved human into heaven. So I didn't plan on crying in this broadcast today, but my grief is still raw, as many of your losses are as well. And I have shed many, many tears reading through this form. You can post if you like as well. And although this is particular for animals, you may find some just relief and release hearing what people are going through. If you know of one that is for humans, I don't have one like this, but my husband and I have been doing a support group for those who are mourning their losses, some of them recent, some of them many years ago. Something that I found very helpful on YouTube. I want to share this with you as well. So let me make sure I have this queued up for you. And this one is called, gosh, I had it for you. Well, I can't share my screen because for some reason it went away, but let's see if I have it. It was, no, I don't. It was Julie, the hospice nurse, I think is the name. Let me know in a comment if you have ever watched that channel. And she talks about natural deaths and what happens when people are dying. And she gives so much interesting information. And so that has been helpful for me to watch as well. I also want to say, because I heard from so many of you who have made the very difficult decision to allow for a peaceful passing of your pet, or perhaps even a human loved one through hospice. And you may be dealing with guilt and regret. And we talked a lot about this in our support group, but there is a difference between guilt and regret. And guilt is where you had the intention of harming. And I don't think anyone had any intention of harming in any of these situations. Regret is natural and normal and understandable and prevalent because that's where we wish we had more time. We wish that these diseases or accidents or tragedies or choices hadn't happened. We wish that we had said things or didn't say things. And I want to help you with that distinction. It's helped me a lot because even in my regrets, nothing I did was with an ill intent. Everything I've done, ideally, has been done out of love. I wish that I had my animals for, well, eternity, and our promise is that we will see them in heaven, but the physical missing of their presence is very, very difficult. I know that the love never dies. It's easy to say that, but it's something that I do focus on. So I want to take a look to see if I can see your comments here. Sometimes YouTube is hiding things from me, so I'm not even sure where I can see them. But since this is a live, hopefully I am streaming and everybody can see me here. Oh, here we go. So thank you again, everybody, I want to read your comments, for being on board. And for some reason, I'm not seeing them. No offense. I don't know what's going on now. Okay, let me see if I can get this going. This is what happens when we're live. All right, yeah, it says that we're going live. All right, here we are. So thank you, Valerie, for being on board as our moderator this evening. And I had no idea, although I'm not surprised, that so many of my lovely, healthy Americans have their furry family members as well. So what I'm going to do, friends, is wrap up for now. I have another video for you on a completely different topic, which is about Trump and the headlines there. Some of you are asking me to give some commentary on that. And please know that my husband and I are praying for all of you. We pray for our healthy Americans without ceasing. We have a strong prayer life. And I've done videos in the past about the power of prayer. And I don't see it as though I'm asking God for something, but I pray for strength to get through whatever it is I'm going through. I pray because it helps me focus my mind on something outside of what's going on. And I pray because it's a way that I can send my intention and my love and my focus and compassion to others. So we do pray for all of you. And I'm so glad that you're a part of this community. And these losses change us forever. It's not something you get over. It's not something you get through. You don't move on. I don't believe that at all. But it's like having a broken leg and you're trying to figure out how to walk again. It's not even like that at all, but it's the only analogy I can think of right now. For me personally, hearing from you, and I hope you know how much my heart and prayers are going out to all of you who are suffering with these losses. So wrapping up, if you want to stay on, I've got this other video coming for you in just a few minutes. And then I do hope and pray that this weekend you're going to take a break from all social media, all videos, all headlines, because sometimes we will try to lose ourselves in those distractions. And in my experience, it only makes our grief greater because we're not allowing the full expression to just knock us down. And that's what happens. I'm rambling a bit here, friends, and I want to thank all of you for being on board. I appreciate you.